Hello everybody, it's Gary Hallican here, and I've got something really cool for us to look at. This is the Flame Toys Furai model Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe. So this is a model kit, so we're going to build a Snake Eyes figure with this. And I've seen a lot of the other Flame Toys models. They've done a lot of Transformers, and those all look really cool. But I haven't gotten any of them myself yet, so I was excited to be able to get this one. I actually got this at Ollie's for even less than what's listed here. The toys were all on sale after Christmas, so you can check your local Ollie's for some of these. But if we look on the bottom of the box here, we see what we should be getting in the box. So it looks like we're going to get an inner frame and then several pieces to go on top of it. And then we'll get our Snake Eyes figure. If we look at the other sides of the box, the top of the box seems to indicate that he should be very articulated. So hopefully that will be the case here. And then nothing on the other side. So this should be pretty cool. Like I said, their Transformers kits look really cool. And this one hopefully should be as well. So let's go ahead and open it up and see what we get. Oh, I didn't show the back of the box here. So on the back of the box, just shows again the articulation and all the parts that should come in it there. So looks like it should be neat. Let's find out. Get the plastic off. Okay. All right, so in the box here, we've got the manual, and that's in its own little bag. Take a look at it here. So there we go. Looks like that's all the extra stuff we'll be able to put on him. Looks like it should be fairly simple based on these instructions. Fairly simple to build. So we've got this tray with, it looks like all the extra hands and some belts and some things like that. So that's cool. And then we've got 2 bags of parts. Pretty much in all black as you would expect for Snake Eyes. And then there are some dark gray parts as well. So, of course, Snake Eyes you wouldn't expect to be very colorful. All right, so I will build this one, and then I'll come back and show you what we get. Okay, so here is what the manual calls the skeleton. And it is very articulated, but a lot of the joints are kind of stiff. So hopefully they will work out as we move it around some. But like I say, it is very articulated. So hopefully it will retain all of that articulation once we add all the parts to make this into Snake Eyes. Okay, we're back with our completed Snake Eyes, and I think he turned out pretty boss. He is a little plain looking, but of course Snake Eyes always is a little plain looking. I think he could benefit from some paint, maybe some metallic paint on the gray parts, maybe some flat black here and there to break up the gloss, but overall I think he looks good. But the real strengths of this kit are that he is very articulated, and perhaps more importantly, he's very heavily armed. So he comes with a lot more accessories even than what you're seeing here on him. So we'll get to those in a minute. As far as the build, it was pretty straightforward. Once you have the skeleton, you just add the muscle pieces on top of that. There were a few tiny little pieces, though, that could be a little bit tricky. And I think the build took just a little over 2 hours to do the whole build. But for the most part, it was pretty straightforward. So let's first look at the articulation. I'm going to go ahead and take this belt off of him here in order to do that. And I'm going to go ahead and take the knife out here. Those will block articulation a little bit. So for articulation, you can look up that far, so that's pretty good. For a look up, you can look down that far, so that's quite good. For a look down, and he's got a lot of movement at the neck here. There's a few different joints in that, so he can tilt side to side a lot. Of course, twist side to side, so we've got a lot going on in the head and neck. At the arms, they can go up that far, so straight out horizontal. They can move forward and back a little bit. You can see that joint right there. And he does have bicep swivel right there. And double elbow. Double elbow can go that far. This little pouch here on the bicep, that wasn't the tightest connection there, so that one fell out. You see double elbow, and then at the hands can twist, and that hand came off. That's okay, we're going to be switching hands in a second. But then of course a hinge here at the hands as well. So pretty good there in the arms. In the chest, he can crunch forward about that far. So not super amount of crunch forward, but a little bit more than most figures. You can lean back pretty good, so you can lean back that far. This does, the chest does limit articulation from what the skeleton had, but it still is pretty good. It can tilt side to side and can, of course, twist at both joints here and at the waist. And then at the legs, can go forward that far and back about that far. And pretty much full splits. Had his holster fall off here. I'll put that back on in a second, but pretty much full splits. No thigh swivel, but does have double knee. And then at the ankles, we can twist. Of course, the foot came off again, off of that peg. It was a little bit tricky to get this peg into the foot to begin with. There we go. Anyway, we can tilt that far down, that far up, you can twist there. And then once you twist it, you can twist it in and out. So, pretty well articulated. Pretty good, I would say. I think we'll be able to get some good poses here. We try to get the foot back in place. Well, it looks like I just broke the foot peg there, so that's no good. You can see there, as I tried to turn the foot around, we broke the peg there, so that's a little bit unfortunate. I'll see what I can do about that. But for now, I'll go ahead and show you the accessories he comes with. So as I said, he is pretty heavily armed, and that's the best part about this kit, is that he comes with a lot of stuff. I'm very disappointed in that, of course, though, that the ankle peg was that fragile that it just snapped right off there. So maybe the articulation is not the best thing about this kit. But like I said, the accessories are very good. So let me put the belt back on him. So he can carry a lot of stuff on his body here. So we have some grenades here on the front, and those can come off. I wish this belt sat a little bit better on him and would stay in place a little bit better, but it's not too bad. So grenades on there, some kind of gas grenades here on the belt. And so he has a sheath for the knife. You saw this knife here. He actually has two of these knives, but only one sheath for him, so you can only carry one at a time. But I'll show you here that he does have two of them. And he also has a handgun here. And he actually has two of those, but only one holster, so it can only carry one at a time. And the holster isn't wanting to stay on too well. Well, a lot of the parts are coming off. They seemed pretty sturdy, but once I started moving him around, he's got several of these little pouches that plug in at different points. So maybe it's turning out that this isn't the sturdiest kit, it seems like. Definitely having some parts coming off as I'm moving him around here. Anyway, though, as I was saying, he does have 2 of those handguns, but can only carry 1 at a time. So on the back here, these 2 swords, these are just handles, these pieces here. So if you pull them out, you'll see they are just handles. But he does have full swords. So he has two swords. Okay, and that's not all. He has this gun, and the guns are all in kind of a gunmetal plastic, so that's good. Focus on it there. It'll do it. So that gun, and also this one. Doesn't really want to focus on these, but well, there we are. All right, this one. So both of those are good, and both of those have a peg that will flip out. So you can choose one of them to store on his belt on the back here. So both of those guns can store on the back with the flip out peg. And then his last weapon is the bazooka. I'm trying to get you a good look at it, but does not want to focus on it. Well, anyway, it is the bazooka, and it is pretty neat. And it also has a flip out peg, but this is a square peg, and it's bigger than the hole on his belt, so I'm not sure where that is supposed to go. The manual doesn't say anything about that. So he's got all this stuff, but how does he hold all of it? He's got a big array of hands. So we've got the fist hands that were on him already. And then if we look here in this tray, we've got some open hands. And these are kind of tight holding hands. So they're open to hold something, but kind of a tight grip. These are a little bit more open holding hands. These would be for holding the swords. And then, of course, he has trigger finger hands. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to try to get the foot back on, and I'm going to show some pictures of him holding all of his different stuff. And then after that, we'll do some size comparisons. Okay, for size comparisons, here he is with G.I. Joe Classified Scarlet. So he's actually a little bit small. You can see there. He's not really in scale with her. So he won't be in scale with your other G.I. Joe Classified figures or your Marvel Legends or your Star Wars Black Series or anything like that. He is a little bit small. For instance, here is Marvel Legends Cersei. All right, so he's definitely a little bit small in comparison there. Here he is with a typical 12-ounce beverage can. And then, of course, here he is with John Cena. So it's a little unfortunate that he's not in scale with your other 6-inch figures. He's more of a 5-inch scale. So that's a little unfortunate that he won't fit in there. But otherwise, I think he is pretty cool. He's unfortunately not as sturdy as I would like. I still don't have the foot attached. It is just resting on it there. But he does come with a lot of accessories, so I think that is the real selling point for him. And I got him cheap at Ollie's, so if you can do that, I think it will be a fun kit for you to build. So let me know in the comments if you have this one, or if you have any other Flame Toys kits, or if you have anything else that's cool. And we'll see you in the next review.